I've been asked to speak about maximising your potential on the MA. Something I had no intention of doing whatsoever until Debbie encouraged me so much throughout the entire course that I ended up finding myself maximizing my potential by accident. So I have Debbie and the team to thank for that. And I am so grateful because I have seen myself go on a journey that I had never expected to go on, not in a million years. But it is the confidence that you are given on this course, and it is the constant encouragement that you receive from the fantastic team of people headed up by Debbie. And it is whenever you produce something worth publishing, you are really, really encouraged to see it through and to publish. And I never intended to go on a course where work of mine might be published. I mean, it hadn't even occurred to me that might be a thing. But I think it's one of the wonderful the uniqueness of this course is that when work is worthy of publishing, you are really encouraged to go ahead and do that. So I'll just talk you through the modules I took and where I went with that to maximize my potential. So I initially started working on vocal warm-ups for children. Now I conduct several choirs, and right at the beginning of the course, I was interested in seeing the value of warm-ups. And then I went on to write my own set of warm-up cards. And the idea about these cards was they were aimed at busy teachers like me and teachers like I encountered during my professional life who didn't have time to read books, but if they were given perhaps 5 cards with suggestions of warm-ups on them, might possibly use them and therefore might possibly do some vocal warm-ups with the choirs they run before singing the repertoire. And you know, lots of primary school non-specialist teachers were doing all sorts of singing with their children without doing any warming up at all. And this seemed to be a good solution to that. So that went down very well with the voice workshop team. I was encouraged to publish the actual resource. In academia, you call it an artifact if you create something as part of a project. So I had to create this artifact, these warm-up cards, and I in fact self-published them with the online tes.com, the Times Educational Supplement online, where teachers can publish works and have them purchased online. I had a postal version of it as well, but virtually 95% of my resources were sold online there. So I set up an online shop and I sold hundreds of these warm-up cards to teachers around the world, literally around the world. Very exciting. You can see who buys your stuff, or where they live anyway. You get a little a pinpoint telling you where your resource is being purchased. So that was really exciting. And then I published the research I did for that set of warm-up cards in a peer-reviewed journal. Peer-reviewed journals are the one kind of like the gold standard of journal that you want to go for. And the journal was called Choral Directions Research Journal. I just submitted the manuscript to them and they published my paper on creating a set of vocal warm-up cards for children. So that went really well. That was very exciting, as you can imagine. And the idea of creating an artifact really did appeal to me. So the next piece of work I did, I created another artifact, and this time I wrote a piece of music. And I won't go into too much detail on that right now, but it was a piece of music which was the artifact on which I then based my project. That was so well received, and I felt such confidence as a composer from the feedback I received from that, that I went on to publish other compositions based on the experience and the marks I received from that paper. So I published in another peer review journal, the journal called Women and Music, which was very exciting because that's an actual, not an online journal, but an actual physical book, which was then sent to me, which is kind of exciting to have something published in an actual physical publication. And since then, I've submitted some work to music publishers and just this last week or so, I know now that 5 of my compositions are going to be published by a music publisher, and that work is being published at the end of this week. So it's all hot off the press, and really exciting. Thank you. And I'm delighted, really lovely. So I'm going to be a published composer in the next couple of weeks. So that's thrilling. That's been a long lead time, but really great. And it's really the confidence and encouragement I received on my artifact composition that made me think, well, actually, maybe I am quite a good composer. Maybe this stuff is, worth publishing. Turns out it was. And then finally, I went on to create another artifact. This time it was a booklet, as was on issues that affect teenagers and their singing. I'm a teacher in a school, 11 to 18-year-old school, and there are lots of voice issues that I come across, often with children arriving at age 11 into year 7, come to us with voice issues that they've kind of picked up along the way. But teenagers have issues going through their teenage years. You've heard a bit about this already. Partly to do with voice change, partly to do with what kind of singing they're doing, partly to do with other unrelated issues, and things that they might not even know are affecting their singing. So I thought, well, I'd write a book on those issues. So it's really broad. And the project, of course, the module was all about the creation of that book. And I'm delighted to say that I have just recently signed a publishing contract for that book. I know, Debbie, and it's going to be published this year. So that's really very exciting. So have I maximized my potential? Well, yes, more than I could ever have dreamed of. And it's all thanks to Debbie and the team. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you. I'm very happy to answer any questions if there are any about this course. Just to reassure anyone here who is from a classical background, I'm classically trained from a classical background. So and all the work that I've done has been on the classical side, so you can do this course whether you're classically interested in classical side of singing or CCM. You really, no one is excluded because it's such a broad range of modules that are available.